Being impeccable with your word sets the stage for me to create a framework of my values. What I love about the 4 agreements is it sets the stage for me to find out what my values really are. I love that this makes it really easy to ask myself, what is being impeccable with my word for me? How do I live that way with my health, my relationships? It's not just the words I say, but what I mean and how I live. I use the power of my words to drive my direction towards truth and love, which is not always so easy when people are being aggressive towards you, or in the corporate world, it seems like it's appropriate to be dysfunctional. So when do I use and take these words to talk about someone in a bad way if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel positive? The same things go for the things that I say about myself. This really has set a root in my life of placing and emphasizing the values of my life so I can live them out day to day. And what I notice is it actually impacts my physical health, my mental health, and also prosperity and abundance, if I'm honest. So being impeccable with your word, what I've come to find is isn't interesting as the world of like reality TV and texting and non-interaction. It requires me to be steadfast in ways that I believe they ought to be done, and not the way it makes maybe the world is doing them. And to be courageous in that way. The more I live that way, the more happiness I have, the more joy I have. Does it make relationships more uncomfortable sometimes? Yes, because other people are not necessarily doing that. And that's not necessarily their value. But it's important for me to be able to look at myself in the mirror and really be living with my truth and my word. And what's interesting is I actually noticed that if I'm not doing that, like I can't actually look myself in the mirror. Like I'm putting on makeup and my eyes are shifty. I'm like, wow, where was I out of truth with myself? And it's really a fascinating thing that saying of I can't look myself in the mirror really is about not being impeccable with my own word and my own values. Yeah, maybe the world's doing those things, but it doesn't mean I can live with myself with doing those things that are happening. So there are times speaking my word won't be helpful to others. Those times I will write it down or engage it in a way with my spiritual community. Like if you read my journal, there's a lot going on in there, and I just put all of it in there so that I am not hurting myself or others in any way. And I ask myself, what is the best and the highest way that I can use that in every way that I can? I'm trying to learn to date again in this dating app or on Facebook or in my recruiting life. I don't really have very many secrets. So if someone hacked my phone, there's not really very much that I would be embarrassed about. There might be a few things I really wouldn't want the world to know about, but I still wouldn't be really embarrassed about because I'm being impeccable with my word and who I am and the integrity of who I am. So what's interesting, what Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements, highlights is that these are the fundamental ways of framing the spiritual practice that you may already have. What is being impeccable with your word look like to you? How do you talk with yourself or others in a way that can be impeccable with your word? We can say things filled with anger, fear, and judgment. We should ask, how are these things impacting ourselves, our friendships, our community, our relationships? I suspect it's impacting you much more than you realize. You think that stomach problem may be not related to while you're speaking? What do you think it means when I say I can't stomach something? So take a look at these kinds of things in your life and see where you can be impeccable with your word and see how it changes your life too.